the connection over on the Ustream side, but maybe we're back and going. You guys can let me know if it's still going there. My screen popped up and said had a little problem. So I'm announcing today, Monday, May 11th, 2009, that the question starting next week will move to a one-day-a-week format through the rest of May, June, July, and August. I know. But I am looking to maybe extend the time to 2 hours so that it's not, it's just sometimes an hour isn't enough with you good folks. Just not enough with you. Especially not an hour a week. I mean, an hour a week, how can you, man, what is this, church? You can't handle this in an hour a week. Got to have a little more than that. So, the show will be going to the summer format, which is a once-a-week broadcast time, and I'll keep you all up to date on what day and what time that's going to be. So, and part of the reason why this change has happened, sure, it's the weather. I mean, we all need to get outside, especially those of us who live in the parts of the world that are punished for 4 months of the year with this thing called winter. But that's not the only reason. The bigger reason is that I'm going to be traveling much more this summer, and I'm going to be moving about the country doing some live occurrences of my book, A Christianity Worth Believing. So, in light of the fact that I'm going to be on the road so often and so many times this summer, 4 different legs, there's just no way I can do the radio show every day. It would be too chaotic, too sporadic. And I've already learned it's not consistent enough to pull the show off from the road, good folks. So those of you who have made this a regular part of your weekday schedule, this summer you're going to have a little bit of a break. And then I'm hoping by fall to have the show in some new formatting, and I'll let you know about that, as it all comes together. So I appreciate all of you and your consistency here on the radio program all winter long, and we're going to it's going to be a different rhythm here for the summer. So that's what's going on this end of things, and I would appreciate your continued support, your continued friendship, your continued participation in the show when it's in its weekly format of 2 hours, hopefully 2 hours at a time. I got to see about that. See, what I got to work out on this, and some of you know, is I got to work out the relationship with my co-hosts, because I really, really like the co-hosts, and I really like their segments. So I have to work out what's gonna be best with those co-hosts when we do this. So, all right. So enough of talking about the show. Let's do the show, my friends. Let's do it right on up. Hey, things going on in the news. First of all, Mother's Day. Happy Mom's Day to everybody. I'm of a mixed mind about this Mother's Day business. Not like who can't be supportive of their mom. I mean, whether you care for the woman, whether she's cared for you, it's on the whole, it's a good thing that people, say thanks, Mom, that they remember their mom, they recognize their mom. In fact, I'm going to go have lunch with my mom today. Couldn't see her yesterday. She's in the hospital, and I was coming back from a wedding, and we couldn't do it, so we said lunch today at the hospital. Look, nothing but good comes out of that, right? So I'm not anti-mom. Okay, I'm not post-mom. I'm not after mom. I'm not non-mom. No, great moms. Mother's Day, I don't know. It's just I guess if all that happens with it, that all that ever becomes of it, is it gives people a chance to appreciate their mom, appreciate somebody else in this world, tell them thanks, spend a little time with them, treat them nice. Can't complain about it. But it just seems like it's one of these holidays that's run amok. I mean, it raises all kinds of angst in people who don't have good relationship with their moms. People spend all sorts of money. Moms feel bad about the money being spent. Kids feel bad that they can't do enough. I'm not sure that on the whole, all we're getting out of it is people feeling good about their moms. Now, maybe some of you listeners want to call in on the studio line, 646-929-1199. Or if you're listening on the Blog Talk Radio side, click to talk. Or if you're on the Ustream, you can use the chat room there. Maybe you have a different story for me to tell. That no, you're pretty convinced that the whole Mother's Day thing sort of levels out, balances out, and works out great on the whole. I'm just not sure. I'll tell you one thing as a pastor. There's a lot of pastors who worry about what they should be doing on Mother's Day. There's a whole lot of conflict around how much do you say, how do you honor moms? What does that do to the people who aren't yet moms? What does it do to the people who lost their mom? I mean, boy, oh boy, for one little, you don't really get as much of this around Father's Day for whatever reason. It's like, Dad, okay, good for you. But on Mother's Day, it's just, it's a whole other level of of conflict and a whole other level of worry that goes into the Mother's Day thing. So on that, hey, the founder of the day was arrested for protesting its commercialization, is what I'm hearing from the good folks here on of the audience. Well, look at that. So I don't stand alone, and I don't know that I'm wound up too much about the commercialization because okay, you're gonna buy some mom some flowers. I don't know, whatever, flowers, candy, time. I just worry about the additional pressure that comes from Mother's Day that maybe on the whole people would say, moms included, it's not really paying off anymore. it's not really paying off. Hey, we're gonna go this week, our final week of the daily broadcast until the fall. That is, we're gonna go with 10-minute segments because we're trying to get this thing to be loaded up on YouTube. So we're gonna take that video recording break, and the news brought to you by the good people over at the Onion Radio Network.